Welcome to the daily briefing from interest.co.nz. I'm David Chaston. Today we review September house sales, we look at the Crown's tax surplus for the year to June, update the latest term deposit rate moves, and we'll wrap up with what the other media are reporting. September real estate volumes were the lowest in 6 years and involved only 5,900 transactions. Sales levels this low was somewhat of a surprise, even though it has been widely reported that activity was softening. But this is really low. Remember, in March this year, there were almost 11,000 transactions, so it has been a long way down from there. The counterpoint to these trends has been price. If sellers are not achieving recent high price levels, they're not selling. In fact, the national median price actually rose to a record $351,500, and the days to sell changed very little. Because price is a function of both demand and supply, it has held up well in many regions. In fact, record high prices were achieved in both Canterbury and Southland. The Southland performance was especially notable. It recorded a year-on-year price growth of 39% and 11% growth over the prior month. Things have been hot in that Southland property market. New Zealand's better-than-expected economic performance delivered the government an $8.7 billion operating surplus for the 2006-2007 financial year. In fact, taking into account all assets, including the New Zealand Superannuation Fund, the Crown's net financial asset position was in the black to the tune of $9.6 billion. A surplus of $9 billion on top of almost $12 billion last year does raise questions about the Crown's legal licence to tax. Documents published with the 2007 budget shows that only 14% of taxpayers pay 53% of all income tax. That is, less than 500,000 people are paying half the tax, and the other 2.7 million are paying the other half, while many of them are receiving Working for Families tax credits. Today's Crown accounts show that the operating surplus is equivalent to more than a third of all income tax paid by individuals. It is equivalent to 90% of all corporate tax collected. It is equivalent to 3/4 of all GST collected. Whatever way you slice it, taxes have been way larger and charges have been way higher than needed by state organisations. Clearly we've been working for them rather than them working for us. And the kicker is that these surpluses are predicted to get even bigger yet. There's been a noticeable slowing in the level of rate changes from non-bank institutions for their deposit offers. This seems to us an odd response to the challenges they face from banks. The Best Bank benchmark is now sitting with Kiwibank, who are offering 8.7% for a 5-month term, and with ANZ. Closely behind are a number of others offering 8.6% or thereabouts, generally for a 1-year deposit. These are attractive offers, high by historical standards, and ones that offer fat returns over inflation. But there are few non-bank offers that are significantly above these levels. In fact, as you can see from this next chart, non-banks have let the rate advantage fall rather significantly in 2007. In our view, where this premium is now, at just over 0.5%, is nowhere near enough to justify choosing a non-bank offer. True, some institutions are addressing this issue. There are now at least 10 non-bank institutions that offer rates above 10%, some as high as 12%. But not enough of the heavy hitters are in this space and are doing so, and this reinforces the perception that banks have the best offers at present. And finally today, a quick wrap up of some other recent news. Government surpluses in the next few years could be up to $2 billion higher than the May budget forecast, according to Bank of New Zealand economist Craig Ebert. Geneva Finance's credit rating has been downgraded 2 notches by Standard & Poor's from B+ to B-. Crude oil prices have dropped back noticeably from as high as $75 a barrel to under $73. At the same time, our currency has strengthened while that price has been dropping. This has allowed the price of petrol to fall under $1.60 at the pump for the first time in a month. You can get more news and stay up with Newsmaker Views on our news page. Join us again tomorrow for the freshest finance news on the web. We'll see you then.